for me. Just first of all, I'd just like to thank everyone for coming today for this special event. It's a big step forward for Wurundjeri people connecting with the local public, and it's really good that you have had the opportunity to name your own council, which I think is a very big step going forward, especially in the Wurrung language. We know where the name came from. It was a Jamaican slave name, and it was definitely a time for a change to get rid of all that negativity out of Australia and walk the one line together. So it's important that we do the name change today and follow suit around the country on any other negativity names that are out there that we think that should be changed into the Wurrung language as we are the traditional owners. Anyway, Wurminjaka to everyone. So Wurminjaka means welcome in the Wurrung language. Me and Bill, our families are from the Corranderk out at Hillsville. We're from the Wandin descendant, and our auntie, Robert Wandin was the last Narangita out at Corranderk before the mission was closed in 1926. Handed down by King Barak. My great-granny Jemima was the last to die on the mission, which was 2 days prior to colonisation taking over the mission and kicking our family off basically, and she died of threat, not wanting to leave her country. So the Wurundjeri people are also a part of the Kulin Nation. So Kulin means man. So in the Kulin Nation we had the 5 language groups. We had the Wadawurrung to the west, the Coorong, who are the westerly neighbours to the Wadawurrung, Tanarong to the northeast, Bunurong to the southwest, and the Wurrung of the Wurundjeri territory that we stand on here today. The Wurundjeri lies within the cities of Melbourne. It extends from the mountains of the Great Dividing Range, south to the Yarra River, west to the Werribee River, and east to Mount Baw Baw. The Wurundjeri have a totem. It's Bunjil the eagle. So Bunjil represented spiritual powers throughout many parts of Australia. Bunjil taught all the laws about life, behaviour and ceremonies to make sure that our culture would continue for all walks of life throughout Australia. So Bunjil was referred to as the creator of mankind. Bunjil created great people from the land, and that is why we call the land our mother, or the mother of creation. Never can the land be taken away. The land will always belong to Aboriginal people, as we are part of the land and the land is part of us. Our story is similar to the European people. Theirs is by their chosen faith, ours is by the dream time. We both have creators and beliefs, and ours is Bunjil. It is a traditional custom for the Australian Aboriginal communities to be asked and to give permission for people to enter their land. Today you have now joined with me to honour the spirits of my ancestors, past, present and emerging, who have nurtured this land for over 80,000 years. And we, as the traditional owners of the land, offer a heartily welcome to the land and hope that together as citizens of this beautiful country, we can build, develop and unite stronger nations for all people. I'll just close off in my Wurrung language, which is Wurminjaka, Wandun, Wurundjeri, Balak, Yemen, Merri-bek, which means you're most welcome to the lands of the Wurundjeri people. Bill's going to come forward in a minute and do a quick talk on the smoking ceremony, so I'll leave that up to Bill. And if you want to add a couple of speeches, your names on the right.
Good morning everyone. Wurminjaka, Kabamala Mungil, Balambun Yalamul, Wurundjeri Balak, Nirina Marga Bill Nicholson. Welcome, greetings, good day from the Wurundjeri people. My name's Uncle Bill Nicholson. Actually, it's pretty deadly being with another elder for a welcome to country. We normally do these by ourselves, so it's great to be here with one of my cousins over there, Tony. So thanks for that welcome to country. There's another elder that couldn't make it today, who's been very influential in the naming change, Uncle Andrew Gardner. One of the Wurundjeri elders, and he's just got something here that I'm going to read on his behalf. So I'd like to acknowledge Uncle Andrew, Auntie Alice Colossa, my dad's sister, Auntie Julianne Axford, for their cultural leadership and advice in support for change. I'd also like to acknowledge the councillors and the mayor, Councillor Riley, Mark Riley, Deputy Mayor Lambros Tapanos, I hope I got that one right. CEO Kathy Henderson, Director Community Eamon Fennessy for their decisiveness and commitment to change. Also Mr Rod Duncan, Mr Phil Cleary, Miss Jo Connellan, Reverend Alistair McRae and Dr Clara Hanson for their research, passion and support for change. So yeah, thanks to those people. Can't get change without action, and we can't get action without people, and we can't get that action without building mutual respect. And in culture, the words listening and hearing, by the way, are very similar in the English vocabulary, I guess, in most people's understanding. But hearing from a cultural point of view is just noise. You know, we hear the birds over there, we hear the plane, we hear the car. Listening is where it all begins from a cultural point of view, and truthful listening of one another builds that mutual respect to move forward. And I really believe that's where, I guess, what we say in language, Jindi Merri-bek, which is unity. Unity in the community, which I believe is even more of an in-depth conversation than what actually reconciliation is. The very reconciliation is the beginning. Unity is one of the positive actions from it. So yeah. So I've just got a little bit here. I'd like to thank the Moreland Council for showing respect and incorporating a welcome to country ceremony today. For thousands of years when people have gathered on this sacred land, there has been a formal introduction to these people, allowing them to feel safe, allowing them to access our sacred resources, and allowing them to conduct our business, their business, on our country. So incorporating at a gathering, especially an important gathering like this morning, it's a great sign of respect. So I'd like to thank the council for that. I'd also like to acknowledge what I call giving our biak is country, or biak, its voice back. The language of this land is Woiwurrung, not English. English is an imposed language of this country. Unfortunately, there's no fluent speakers anymore, but we're going to bring it back eventually. But to me, it's giving the voice back to country. The language of this land is not lost. It's still looking for its people. And this is one big step, actually, to bring the voice of the land back by naming the local language area. For those that don't know, the Merri Creek, or Merri is actually part of our dreaming story. The dreaming is where all knowledge is kept traditionally. It's like your Google today, I guess. It's a modern day example I could really think of. But it's actually mentioned in the dreaming story of the creation of the Birrarung, or the Barang, the Birrarung Ma, the Yarra River, the sacred river of mists. So the actual story comments on using one of these things here. I don't have the handle on it, I've got to fix it. But this is a modding axe blade, greenstone axe. This was traded as far as any other trading item in traditional culture that I'm aware of. 700 to 1,000 kilometres to the north and to the northwest as well. Talks about Yan Yin, might have heard of that name, not too far from here, and Barwal, cutting a twisty and windy track through the Merri, which is the rocky country. So in language, when we double up the first word, it just emphasises the first word really. So rocky or extremely rocky. What that relates to is one of the greatest, by size I guess, volcanic plains in the world. Pretty much goes from the Plenty River all the way past what's today called South Australia border, that line on the map that someone drew a few hundred years ago. But all the way past to Mount Gambier and beyond. It's a great volcanic plain. So we're the sole surviving sovereign clan of the Birrarung. What that really means from a cultural point of view is our ancestors never handed our responsibility to care for country and look after our people to anybody. And to my knowledge, not one elder of the past from all over the great diversity Aboriginal nations and family groups and clans throughout this country did that. So that responsibility handed down to us, I'd like to encourage everyone here to take on board as well, because you don't have to be Wurundjeri to take on Wurundjeri law. We actually need non-Indigenous people to help us care for this land and to look after each other and, as I said, move forward in the positive unification spirit, because the land is crying out for us. You know, today they call that climate change. From a very wise elder from up north, he told me, you know what climate change is from a cultural point of view? It's human disconnection to country. And what happens then is the exploitation of country without the consideration of its future, which very much relates to ours. So that's just something to keep in mind, which always sort of stuck in my head from a very wise elder up north there. So, oh, look, I read a long speech, I won't talk about it too much, but I'd just like to say, you know, like I said, language connects us to culture. To me, it's like the roots of a tree. It's without the roots, the tree can't survive, it can't even stand up. It's how we learn everything, how we express everything. So I'd like to acknowledge my elders past, me and Tony's elders past, because we wouldn't be here without them. Now, a place called Merri-bek, where our family was born, my grandmother was born there. Now, there was only 18 individuals when a very important man named Simon Wonga, you might have heard of Wonga Park out in eastern Melbourne there, set up that place for the survival of his people. And we also had our cultural cousins, I call them, the Tanarong or the Dunwarang people. I think there was only about 22 or so of that mob left at the time. So that's when we hit rock bottom. But then we flourished from there. Merri-bek was a very self-sufficient community farm. It was called a mission because the church ran it, but it was a community farm. You know, it just showed the colony that we could live within this new environment. The frustrations are they didn't allow us to. And a lot of the issues that we suffer today was being excluded from the economy imposed on our country. And really until 1967, when Australia actually said that Aboriginal people can be part of this country in a, I suppose, human rights nature. So just keep that in mind, because as an educator, as an elder, personally, I'm getting sick and tired about closing the gap and talking about it all the time and, you know, the traumas of our people. Let's fix it. Now, let's use all the wisdom, resources, capacity, knowledge, history to learn from the past and never let it happen again, and move forward and help the people that need it the most. So, oh, the fire's going out, don't I? Now, the ceremony is, it's like a passport. It gives you access to someone's land. It's just like today, if you got on a plane out at Tullamarine, which is named after one of our elders, Tullamarina, who was one of the mob out in the western side of our country, Merri-bek catchment. And by the way, I forgot to acknowledge them because they're not here anymore. And I'm sad to say, but I'd like to acknowledge all the clans of the Merri-bek. When you get on a plane out at Tullamarina there, go to someone else's country, you know, you must respect the laws of the land that you go and visit. It's the same when it comes to this business. So to feel truly welcome and respect the people, country and culture is part of the law, which we never ceded to anyone, as I touched earlier. So we would offer you vegetation in the local area to symbolise you could use our sacred resources. We would sip water and offer it to you as a trust respect symbol. I've come across oral history about the reed spear being broken and thrown to the ground, symbolise no one harms you. And then the smoking ceremony itself. So now the summer, autumn, winter, spring seasons, I can relate 3 of them to our landscape. I can actually split a couple of them up. But one of them I can't relate at all, and that's autumn. So around that time, we had season relating to wing, which is fire. Fire is a physical cleanser of the landscape and a regenerator of its resources and habitats for our animals. Created parks. I know that because that's what the English said when they first got here in their very earliest diaries, what they saw in this landscape. So fire is a physical cleanser and a regenerator of country. I'm going to ask everyone here to walk through the smoke before we go in and do the formal stuff out in there. Because it symbolises spiritual cleansing of self and of the ceremony ground. And when we're doing ceremony, it becomes a ceremony ground in my eyes. So this is a spiritual cleansing. And like I touched on and Tony's touched on, you know, people are only welcome with respect to people, country and culture. And Moreland Council has shown a great deal of that. So we're not Moreland anymore. Merri-bek Council. So the Rocky Country Council. So we look forward to working with you into the future and educating your community about what this is all about and about the culture and history of this country. So yeah, I'm going to play the clapsticks in just to let the ancestors know we're here in respect. So thanks. I'll give it a bit of a breather. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll mention that. For the mob out there, I'd like to acknowledge you and your ancestors in your country. Feel free to come through the smoking ceremony first. So, like as I usually do, I talk too much and the heat's gone out of the fire, so just give us about a minute to get the heat back and then we'll get the smoke going.
What's this one?
Yeah. You mind doing that while I play the bass?
We get everyone to come forward and just place a leaf on the fire. The people from Moreland City Council from the area, the ratepayers first, please. Thank you.
Would you like to put a leaf on the fire? Would you like to put a rice on the fire? I can come with you if you like. I think they're all mine. No, you do it.
It's going the other way.
Way around the back of the fire. That'd be great. Thank you. Get a good cleanser as you're going through. Your feet, your head, get all through. It's a spiritual cleanser for the Wurrung people. So, very important tool, and our contact gathering tool used for corroborative fires, trading tools at the rivers. It was used for everything, our fire, cooking, the whole thing. So it was a very important source of ours was the smoking ceremony and the fire. Anyone that hasn't got a leaf can grab one off me coming to the fire if they choose to do so.
Oh, sorry. Shall we?
One on Jenny, one on his manager. I'd try some deal for one.
Yeah. So the leaf we're putting on the fire today is the manna gum. It's used for smoking ceremonies. It's a river gum, and yeah, it's used for all smoking practices. So if you haven't got a leaf, you can grab one off me and put on the fire. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Choose yourself. Yeah. Try one on. Oh, you're right.
Oh, we. You got a leaf? Just keep making your way through. Oh, you can if you like. Look out. Oh, wow.
So we keep flying down.
That singes your eyebrows.
It's good to see so many kids here today. It's very important for our culture going forward. So they're all taught in schools and that now, so these kids will have the opportunity from being little right up to being an adult, learning the culture. Have you got a lease, sir? Come through. Yeah, right. Hello. Good place. Hey, mate, how are you? Right, mate. Big part. Sorry, dog? Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Have you got one there, please? Oh.